And our breaking news to start the show, in case you missed it, Chris Paul calling it a career. 40-year-old announced he is retiring today. Paul began his 21st NBA season returning to the Clippers, but left in December when he was traded to Toronto at the deadline. A future Hall of Famer for certain, CP3 played for 7 teams, including the Spurs, where he crossed paths with last year's Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle, who reacted to the news today. It's new on SportsCenter.
He was a coach on the floor for us, at all times, especially for me. Obviously playing the same position, like coexisting. So, just having him on the court is like a sense of stability. And then he was an even better person off the court. So, super cool to be around. Still talk to him a couple of times throughout this season. So, I feel like just what he showed me and how he showed me he saw the game last year. I feel like it's helping me this year.
Castle definitely picked up something because he's having a tremendous, spectacular sophomore season. But Paul, the future Hall of Famer, one of the best passers the game has ever seen, ranks only behind Hall of Famer John Stockton in assists, also steals, great defender, just above Jason Kidd and LeBron in total.
We've got breaking news here out of the NBA, where Chris Paul has announced he is retiring after 21 seasons in the association. The future Hall of Famer was a 12-time All-Star, named to 9 All-NBA teams and 9 All-Defensive teams. Paul led the league in steals 6 times and in assists 5 times, and ranked second in NBA history in both of those categories. He was also a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team. Paul retires from the league regarded as one of the best point guards in NBA history. Big reason why you're looking at the stats right now. Second most assists, over 12,000. That's in NBA history. He was, of course, Rookie of the Year back in 05-06, 11-time All-Star, or 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA. Let's welcome in NBA analyst Ashley Nicole Moss to put this into perspective for us. I said that he's highly regarded as maybe one of the best point guards in NBA history. Where would you have him ranked at that position all time?
That's absolutely fair, Emily. We're talking about top 10 point guard of all time, in my opinion. Some people may have him ranked even closer to the top 5, but I would say top 10 is definitely the safe range, right? I think that when you think about Chris Paul, we've seen so many iterations of the point guard position, over time, right? And I think that you have to also look at what Chris Paul is for that position. Here was my list when we actually did it. I have him in my top 5. I think top 10, like I said, depending on who you talk to, maybe the safer range for some people. But Chris Paul really was a point guard, the last kind of point guard of his kind. And what I mean by that, he was a true traditional point guard. We've seen that position change over time and lose some of those traditional aspects. And that's why he is dubbed the point god, because he is the last of a dying breed in that sense. So absolutely one of the pioneers of the position, one of the people who really excelled and just took that position to new heights in a traditional sense. He's one of one, for real.
Yeah, that's why CP3, you see him so high on that assists all-time record, second all-time. So for what a great player he is, we expect him to be a future Hall of Famer. Actually, it's rare that you get to go out the way that you want to, but there is kind of some weirdness with how this all ended. What do you think about the retirement tour, or lack thereof, for Chris Paul?
I absolutely hate it. I think that, there are people that come into the game that deserve a proper send-off. And what that looks like differs for different people, right? Some people want the goodbye tour. Some people don't. Some people just want, their jersey in the rafters when it's all said and done, or a tribute video. Whatever it may be, you are supposed to send off your legends, your Hall of Famers, your future Hall of Famers in a way that is respectable of what they meant to the game. And I don't think Chris Paul got that. And it's something that's not going to sit right with me. I felt the same way about Carmelo Anthony. Don't really think he got the send-off he deserved either. But we're talking about Chris Paul, one of the greatest point guards we've ever seen play the game. And when you think about the sequence of events, he put the Lob City Clippers on the map. The Clippers were not a team that anybody was really checking for. LA was always a Lakers town, and Chris Paul gets there along with Blake Griffin and the rest of his teammates and really turns that organization into a team that people are talking about again. And at the time, it seemed like a full circle moment for him to kind of end his career in a place that he helped make what it is today. And we'll never really know what happened, what transpired, what, the breaking point was for the Clippers and Chris Paul. There were a lot of reports out there. We may never know the truth, but the fact that he gets cut, then the Raptors sign him with the intention to actually waive him. He's not going to report. And now we hear that he's retiring. It's just something that's never going to sit right with me. Maybe he didn't want the goodbye tour, but he definitely deserved a better send-off than this.
Yeah, he released a statement and just kind of said, this is it. It kind of came out of nowhere today and not something that we were anticipating. But thankfully, he will be remembered for the bulk of his career, which was fantastic. But there's always going to be some of those what-if moments we like to talk about as we remember he
got a ring. Should have got a ring.
I know. Well, maybe in this instance.
David Stern's fault, Emily. David Stern screwed him.
That's what I was going to ask you about, Ashley. We were on the same page here, famously vetoing that trade to the Lakers. So what would that have looked like if he teamed up with Kobe? You're saying ring.
I really, in my heart, we'll never know realistically. There's no way to predict, what would have happened. But in my hearts of hearts, I truly believe that if David Stern does not veto that trade and he becomes a Los Angeles Laker, we're talking about Chris Paul with all of his accolades, and another accolade that would be on that list is NBA champion. I believe it wholeheartedly. I will stand on that mountaintop and continue to shout from there. It's just it's constantly a what if. It will forever be a what if.
It will. Speaking of the Lakers, though, there is a member of the Lakers who I guess we can call the champion of the banana boat, LeBron James, the last one standing. Look at this crew, Ashley. I can't believe we're saying goodbye to CP3.
Well, Gabrielle Union's still acting, so I guess you can also put her in the conversation as well. She's still, in her craft. But yeah, LeBron's the last one standing on the boat.
Hard to believe. This segment started very serious and then went off the rails quickly. But we have some fun. Ashley Nicole Maz, we appreciate you putting into perspective the retirement of Chris Paul. Also worth mentioning, second all-time, not just in assists, in steals as well. So that true point guard that Ashley was mentioning, once again encapsulating the Chris Paul career as he announces his official retirement today. That is a lot of All-Stars, a lot of All-NBA and All-Defensive teams that he has acquired over his illustrious career.
Dealing with significant injuries still. I'm not sure when they're going to see their two best players back. Victor is on a mission. We saw it just in this last couple of games before the break, coming out to the West Coast and crushing the Lakers and the Warriors. I think Victor is going to be hunting for that number one seed, and I think that's something that we're going to be really talking about come April.
Spurs could be ahead of schedule with Victor Wembanyama this year in the Western Conference, which is scary for the rest of the league. All right, you handled the West there. Let's look at the East now. Wendy, the Detroit Pistons, the number one overall seed in the East with a record of 40-13. Right below them, the Celtics, still without Jason Tatum, so that's impressive. Knicks, Cavs, all fighting for the 2 seed as well with Boston. Raptors and Sixers rounding out the top 6. So, Wendy, same drill, Eastern Conference edition. Your biggest winner of the first half is?
The Detroit Pistons have the number one overall seed in the NBA right now, heading into the All-Star break. I mean, the Celtics being behind them is impressive for Boston, but they're 6 games clear in the loss column because Detroit has developed a terrific